Do you think that addictions, distractions, and procrastination can also be invisible fire that entrepreneurs also have to fight?
It doesn't really matter what the issue is. It's really go back to what feeds it. Procrastination is a big one. I forgot to mention it. I have many entrepreneurs coming to me with that one. Distraction, I can help you with the behaviors you want to change. Addictions, as also, you named it, the technology is part of addiction, right? There's 5 families of addiction, and technology is one of them.
Story warrior, we rise and we lead from a motherland slain. Stories of power, remember the name. Business warriors, voices that shine, African spirit in every line. Lead, inspire, tell your story. Legacy in motion, this is our glory. Story warriors at your word.
The more I'm reading about mindfulness, the more I realize that there's a lot that I need to sit down and just learn about that. But I want us to take one step further. You work with a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners, people who are trying to do it for themselves, by themselves. They don't believe in somebody giving them a job. And I think that they fight a lot of fires, without a doubt. Visible fires and invisible fires. Visible fires are like the payroll, getting the products out there, logistics, marketing, and getting clients. But there are also some invisible fires that they have to fight, which I also have to fight, because I left from firefighting, where I was fighting physical fires. I went into training and development. I'm helping people fight fires, but they're not visible fires. So I want to ask you, have you encountered entrepreneurs that fight invisible fires that are just as decimating, just as challenging as physical fires?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to talk to you about this sequence, and that's going to guide our conversation. So the sequence I work with my clients is that first you have a thought. There's a story you tell yourself. There's something you're saying. Let's say you say, I'm not good enough. Let's say you say that to yourself. That creates an emotion. That emotion creates action. And then those actions become your life. So if I'm an entrepreneur, CEO, CFO, whatever, and I am telling myself a story that I am not good enough, let's say, that makes me feel, what would that make you feel? If you
insecure?
Insecure. So if I'm insecure, I'm gonna do certain type of actions. And those actions are going to bring me somewhere. So if you think that you are enough, how will that make you feel?
You feel more accomplished, a little bit more confident and exuberant.
And that guides your actions, right?
That's right.
And then your actions. So in the fires that I see, the entrepreneurs, I see a lot of lonely at the top. So you need to keep the figure. You need to keep the image. You need to keep it going. And you have not a lot of people with whom you can really share how you feel. I have a lot of entrepreneurs who are in family business. Sometimes they are the banking machine for the family. Sometimes they hold a lot of responsibilities. And they cannot share how they feel. So there's all that loneliness part where people have nobody that they can really talk about how they feel. Yes. This morning, you can't have the entrepreneur coming and saying to the employee in the morning, I didn't want to come to work this morning. I don't like this new regulation we're having. I don't like this project. I don't like, I'm not happy with this and that. I mean, this is not going to help the people around, to feel engaged, right? So there's a lot of that. I would say that they're fighting that
loneliness. Okay.
Loneliness is a big one at the top, where the game is changing. So pressure, that's another one. And then sometimes they really say, why am I doing that? The purpose. Sometimes at the beginning of the business, there was a big purpose, right? Yeah. Sometimes no. Sometimes the purpose was that this was handed over to me from my family, and I was the elected one that had to carry forward.
Yes.
So that responsibility is there, and that's something that's a big internal fire. So the purpose, why am I still doing that? Why do I don't sell all this and
hmm
just go run with my money and have fun? Like,
Yes.
why am I, so
One by one.
what purpose, why am I selling plastic, whatever? How is this helping the world? No, but I'm just saying, like
Yes,
you've inherited a business
I hear you.
and your parents who did very well or were
Yes,
struggling, and you are now the one who's carrying it, and you're just looking at this and saying, this is what I'm doing for a living, and then
does make sense. Yeah.
you don't find a purpose. So that's the other one. The
Right.
lust of the purpose, the lust of the why is a big one.
Wow.
um yeah, so those are a few examples.
Very interesting. When I taught high school, I came up with this concept that young people, maybe some old people too, have some other invisible fires that they fight: distractions, addictions, and procrastination. I think I call it the ATP, because distractions, everybody has this. This can take away the time that you could spend working. Now with AI, social media, it's just crazy. Then you have addictions. Maybe it could be a substance, it could be something, and that takes away a lot of your time. And then procrastination, which is I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I've not done my taxes, to be honest with you. So my question to you is this: do you think that addictions, distractions, and procrastination can also be a big of invisible fire that entrepreneurs, trailblazers also have to fight?
Oh yeah, I think procrastination, and again, for me, it doesn't really matter what the issue is. It's really go back to what feeds it. What are the beliefs that are feeding it, right? Procrastination is a big one. I forgot to mention it, but you're right. I have many entrepreneurs coming to me with that one. Distraction, right? Today there's so many people that are coming to me with labels like I'm ADD or I'm ADHD, and I'm like, okay, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I cannot help you with that, but I can help you with the behaviors you want to change. Oh, I want to be able to focus. Oh, I want to be able to listen to my wife and not be on the phone. Oh, I want to be able to focus on work for a couple hours. So let's work on the behaviors. So that I can, that I work with people. But addiction, yes, as also, you named that the technology is part of addiction, right? There's 5 families of addiction, and technology is one of them. And it's really about going back to why, I know why I was drinking, right? I know what brought me to drinking, but once you understand the why, then it's easier to rewire really for what you want.
Hey, is your story working for you, or it's just sitting there and gathering a lot of dust? Do you know your story is a powerful, invisible asset? Your story is your superpower, provided you know how to tell it. Give me 15 minutes. I will audit your story and make it unforgettable. It will generate buzz, it will generate engagement, and above all, it will create business for you. Give me 15 minutes. I can coach you on how to tell your story in the most captivating way possible. My name is Gideon Fumukwai, the story warrior. I help people like you to tell fascinating stories. So please click below and sign up, and I'll be happy to work with you. Thank you so much. I would ask this follow-up question. Through the use of your work as a hypno coach, are you able to help somebody stop procrastination, or maybe a certain kind of addiction, or maybe some of the distractions of social media that are so prevalent today? Are you able to do that? And you want to give
absolutely.
That,
Absolutely. So procrastination, a lot. I do that. I'm going to have a caveat about addiction. Okay. So it depends really where I had shopping. I remember I had a client that had shopping addiction. I have sugar addiction, maple syrup addiction, all kinds of.
Wait, a Canadian can have maple syrup addiction?
Yes, that's a luxury, isn't it?
I thought only people from Australia, from Southern Hemisphere should have that. I never thought that a Canadian could have that. All right, I'm just being silly.
I know.
One thing we do on this podcast is we give ourselves permission to kind of take a good laugh. So a Canadian with maple syrup addiction, that's very unusual. Maybe we need to get that into the Guinness World Book of Records. We're gonna call Guinness World Book of Records. Okay,
so
sorry
you
for
know, Dr.
interrupting you.
No, that's okay. Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford, she has a book that's called Dopamine Nation, and she herself, as a doctor, got addicted to novels, to reading novels, love novels, right, beach novels, and that got her so far that she was waking up in the middle of the night. She was doing it between the classes. Gabor Mate, that you might know, that is a Canadian renowned doctor, and he was addicted to music, so much so that he led a woman into labor and left her and went to buy music. So you can really be addicted to a lot of things. So for my caveat for helping people have addiction, I kind of have to know where they are at. So, and in certain cases, in most cases, I will strongly recommend that they have other support. Like for alcohol, you need to see a doctor. For support group. So depending on what the situation is, I will be one of the person in the team. But yes, I can be a major person in the team of the person. But it takes more than one support person to help with addiction. But the shopping addiction, the person really did stop. So I'm very responsible in that terms. Like, I don't think I can do it all. I'll do my part, and I make sure they have other people helping them from other part.
Yes. No, I think that is better to be very transparent about that, because at the end of the day, you want the people to have the help and go and thrive after that. You don't want them to continue to be dependent or incapable of functioning. Now, we have talked about how some of these can hold back an entrepreneur, a trailblazer, a change maker. So my question then is, can these invisible fires, maybe it's loneliness, can the entrepreneur, can the founder become the very obstacle to themselves because of these invisible fires? Can they become the bottleneck? If that's the case, maybe talk to us about maybe one example of somebody that you helped and they found a turnaround.
Yes. Okay. I have a client who was selling the business. Most of the time when people sell their business, they call me at the due diligence process because they go crazy. I mean, the due diligence process are becoming more and more complex and more more demanding.
And this is different from your hypno coaching work. This is more from your corporate background as somebody that can help them do due diligence. Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, what I'm saying is they contact me when they are at that stage. They have identified a buyer. They're doing the due diligence, and they're tired. They're just exhausted, and they feel like they have somebody to help them with their finance. They have a tax person to prepare this. They have all kinds of counselors, but they don't have anybody to help them personally go through the transaction. Mm-hmm. So I had this person who was basically thinking that, it didn't deserve to be happy. So which was and he came and see me and say, I'm going through this now. And if I go to the transaction and I get all that wealth and I still think that I don't deserve to be happy, how is this going to help me, right? Mm-hmm. So we worked together for a good year, 2 years, actually a little more than 2 years, because he had to stay. And how often you have, once you hand over, once the transaction is done, you stay for a transition a year, 3 months. Mm-hmm. So he had to stay, so I helped him navigate that part, which it's always a tricky part too. And now he is rebuilding a different type of life for himself and his family. Yes.
After he's collected his big paycheck, and you help him to accept or to acknowledge that, yes, you do have the right to be happy. And now he's building a new life. And is he looking happier, or is still looking stressed out?
Oh, yes. No, it's funny because I spoke to him a few days ago, actually, and he was telling me about how he is building now, right? like a new life, new habits. What are his new habits? What are his new healthy habits? What are his projects? How he feels?
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. There is in life when sometimes you start here and then you climb the mountain and then you go on a plateau and then you decide to climb the next mountain or not to climb it. It's your choice, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, life will throw things at you, but if you have tools, right? If you have tools to handle them.
Yeah.
I teach a lot self-hypnosis, and people, they use self-hypnosis to soothe themselves, to find answers within themselves, So yeah, that's an example, but I have so many.
Fantastic. What is the most common story that you see pioneers, entrepreneurs, founders, trailblazers tell themselves that and they probably know it's not a good story. It's not one that will lead them to where they want to go.
Yeah. So most of them feel that they're too different. They can't connect. Okay. And sometimes it stems from childhood, where they saw the world differently than people around them. They saw opportunities. They were thinking on their own. They had the mind of their own. They had ideas, dreams, stuff that were different from the crowd. We're all different, but some of us have
even more different.
They're less the same color than the tribe. They were in a tribe that was blue and they were red or whatever, right? And so you don't choose your tribe when you're a child. You're just born into that area. You go to school in that area where your parents choose and everything. But as you grow, you can choose your tribe. So they often keep entertaining the idea that they are different, they can't connect. And sometimes that people won't understand them, that people don't understand them, don't understand their ideas, don't understand. And sometimes I have clients that will say, oh, see, this thing that is happening now, I thought about it, or I proposed it, or I brought it forward 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but I was too early. So there is that kind of belief that I see.
Wow. It makes me wonder some of the things that I have kind of like preempted. Like I could see this could go wrong and eventually goes wrong. I don't know did I give power to that thing to happen, or was it supposed to happen? I don't know anything about that, but maybe from your standpoint, maybe you could describe for those who are interested in self-hypnosis, what could they do to avoid some of their worst fears? Because I have some fears. For example, I'm not very comfortable flying. Abundant information that this is the safest mode of transport. But the slightest turbulence, I am on the edge. I'm like, I cannot even describe it here. I need some way to go into some spatial comedic therapy or just share it with people, because if I tell you what I do whenever there's slightest turbulence, you will not believe it. I might sit there like that. You think this guy's crazy. You have no idea what kind of prayers. This is just a little bump. I'm not talking about. Then imagine when there's really some stuff, which eventually happens every now and then. I just sit there because I have no choice. I'm like, I always tell my wife, if there's another mode of transport that can get me around the world, I would never sit on an airplane for 2 minutes, even for a minute. I don't have no other option. So my question then to you is there something that you can use for self-hypnosis for those who are listening? Maybe before they even reach out to you, they can test the concept and see, am I just crazy? Or if I'm crazy, I really need to go talk to Jenny Lin.
Yeah. Gideon, what is the story you tell yourself when you're afraid of flying, when something happened? What do you tell yourself?
I don't want to go down. I don't want to go down this way. I could die some other way, but I don't want to die this way.
I don't want to die this way. So that's
just going to be too painful. The butterflies in my stomach are just uncontainable. And then again, claustrophobic metal. I cannot escape. This is crazy. Why am I here? Can I do something else? Can I go by horseback? Can I just take a kayak? What am I? So first, claustrophobia is it's an issue for me. That's one. And then you add the heights to it. So
I do a lot of fear of flying. In fact, I did had a client once that his company bought a plane, like a small plane, and he had to fly on this small plane all the time, and he was really, really scared. So that's something I do, fear of flying. But for people what they can do is this, the first thing to know is that your brain doesn't make the difference between certain kinds of excitement. Like, let's say you go to the fair, and you know those big Russian, I don't know how you call them, the roller coaster. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So if you're out of the roller coaster and you hear people screaming, you don't know if they scream because they're happy and they love it and they're excited, right?
Some are loving it, some are definitely loving it.
Exactly.
Some are like, some are dying, some are loving it, some are yoo-hoo,
exactly. But they both scream, and you don't know if they scream out of fear or they scream out of joy. So the excitement, you can simulate the excitement. I would say to somebody, you just go within yourself and you imagine that you love flying. You imagine that when there's little bumps, it's like you're on your little horse. Or you imagine that whatever you love to do that has some kind of movement, okay, so you go into that state, and I teach people how to go in that state. It's very easy. And then you start to imagine another story, to pick up your title. So you really start to imagine another story. So when it does a little bump, it's the horse in the prairie with the wind, and you're riding along, in the field, right? Yeah. So you just trick your brain, okay? Yes. That is one way to do it. But that's something I do a lot, fear of snakes and planes and stuff like that.
Yes, and I have snakes for sure. I have flying. I have claustrophobia and horseback. I don't want to get any horse.
Okay,
I'll have to find some other thing that I enjoy. But clearly, I cannot get close to a horse. It's the most dreaded animal that I know.
Oh, really? Okay.
I can play with every other animal. I can go close to a cow, but not horse. It terrifies me. But that I know the reason. I know the reason from childhood. But for the other ones, I don't know what is the deal with that. And who knows? I might become very, very interested in what you're doing someday and come and benefit from it. But as we start to wrap up here, let me say, go back to your own self. When you came out of corporate, what fears did you have, and how did you, or what invisible fires did you have to fight to be comfortable doing what you do now? And you're now working with thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs around the world.
Yeah, it's a very good question. You know, the first thing that happened to me, and that's really funny because 1 week before I was in the Bahamas meeting a new person that became a good friend, and we were walking in the waters, and I said to her, "Oh, my year is booked in advance." And it's true. I knew which day I was going to fly, what meeting. Like, you're in those roles, your year is booked in advance. So when I got let go, the first thing that happened is my schedule became void, empty. That was the scariest thing I've ever experienced. Nothing in my schedule.
Like, wake up, you don't know where am I going, what am I doing? Yeah, I can tell.
Because my life was work. Like, my life was my career. I was so self-identifying with my career that I felt that was terrible. So that's the first thing. The second thing was about security. And that's very interesting because a couple years before, I have a very good friend of mine, and we were December 19, and he invited me for a drink, and we had a drink, blah, blah, blah. And at one point he said, "When are you starting your business?" I said, "Oh no, I love my security too much. I love my golden cage too much. I love my security so much." He said, "You should be an entrepreneur. You should have a business, blah, blah, blah." And he's a multiple entrepreneur. And I said, "Oh, I don't know." He said, "I'm going to make a deal with you. You have until January 1st to accept to start your business, your coaching business, and I will pay for the setup. I will send you my lawyer, my accountant, and everybody, and you have until January 1st to say yes."
You guys are so, that's a very good friend.
I know. And I said yes to him. And then the company was dormant for a couple of years until I lost my job. And when I lost my job, he said to me, so much about security. Where is your security now?
rubbing the salt to the wound. Oh my
And my
God.
company was already set up. So that was an easy foot in for me. And I'll always be thankful to my friend Eric that I say thank you to.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, everybody needs an Eric in their life.
Yes.
What I mean, I need an Eric too. But talk to entrepreneurs, founders, trailblazers. Talk to them about why they need an Eric in their life before the fire, not only after the fire. Because most people only go look for an Eric after they have a fire. By then it's too late because Eric is busy doing his own thing. You don't know that you need time to cultivate these relationships and deepen them and build them. Because when a fire comes, that's when you can say, "Hello, Monsieur Eric, pardon, venez." Then Eric is going to take your call and come. Otherwise, he's busy with his own thing. Talk to
Yeah.
about the power of finding true disciples, finding true supporters, true Erics in your life.
I would say it's through connections. I was never somebody of volume, but of quality. And I would say start with your network where you are already. The type of business I worked in, banks and legal industry, and then Big Four. So those places, there's a lot of people there that you built and connect. If you start to truly connect with people and develop real relationship with them, they will see things in you that sometimes you're not seeing yourself, right? Yeah. Lately, for the past year and a half, I didn't train much. I didn't do much in my life except working. For some reason, I was really caught up into that. And lately, it was my birthday and my friends came over and they said, "That's enough. That's it. You now have to get out of your house and go and train and do stuff because you look terrible. You never looked that terrible." But they were doing that in a very loving, caring way, right? So I say, cultivate true connection with people. Take time to get to know people. You don't have to schmooze and go to every cocktail but when you are with someone, be present with that person. Nobody wants to be called at the 11th hour with somebody you haven't spoke to in about 5 years and say, "Can you help me?" Right? But sometimes, and it's funny because that thing, you should have your business. I've had so many people telling me in my life, "Jenny Lin, you should have your business. Jenny Lin, you should have your business." So hear also what people have to say about you that you might not be aware of. In that Johari window, there are things that other people are aware about you that you're not self-aware.
Yes.
So I would say take the time to be present with some people that you truly enjoy, that you truly find something interesting about them. Take the time to connect.
Yes.
And start cultivating the belief that you are able to connect, that you love to connect, that you discover yourself through connection, you discover others through connection, and you can experience life in a very different way through connection.
Okay, very, very insightful. Perhaps I think we can end on this one. If, let's say, tomorrow you want to advise someone who is struggling and they have some self-doubt, they have some degree of procrastination, they also have some distractions, and there's a lot going on in their life. In the meantime, they need to take care of their business. What do you tell them to be the first step? Because they're like, I don't know which one is going to solve, which one is going to help me, which one is going to save me from my own personal limitations.
Yeah, I would say go back to your objective. Why are you doing all this? What is your why? And that's often a guiding filter. It will help you say, okay, go back to that. Go back to the reason why you started all this. Does it still make sense? Is it still relevant? Could it be tweaked? Could it be reoriented or transitioned? But go back there. That's going to help you and guide you into eliminating what needs to be eliminated, create what needs to be created. but go back to why. Go back to your why. And if you don't know your why, that could be a good to set this objective. I am now going to spend some time, invest some time into connecting with my why.
Yes, I can see how that would be very helpful. And I see how I can use that sometimes when I'm like at crossroads. There's so many things going on. And I see that for those who are, whether they are our listeners, our viewers, go back to your why. If you're finding yourself trapped and unable to move forward, the message from Jenny Lin is go back to your why and then go from there, one step at a time. Thank you so much, Jenny Lin. I absolutely enjoyed this conversation and I learned so much. And now that I know, I may need some help.
Happy to help you fly. I love flying.
It wasn't so much the purpose of this, but that came up and I don't know if I can afford it, but I'll take you on that. And maybe there's an Eric in my life. Eric, where are you? Come on, help me.
That's so funny. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my story. It's been a pleasure.
I absolutely enjoyed this conversation and I would love to invite you back at some other time once our viewers and listeners start interacting with this and see what wealth of experience they can benefit from you. Thank you so much, Jenny Lin.